I started driving for the Jets in 1982, and at the time they were still practicing their facility. They had offices in Manhattan, but they had their training center was part of Hofstra University's campus. It was, for me, it was a 5 to 10 minute drive. It's more than a job, you know. I really take a lot of pride in doing everything right with the truck, and it's just part of being a small part of the organization. We're going to the Merrick train station. We have a fireman's memorial on Merrick Avenue and Sunrise Highway.
20 years ago, the darkest day in American history. Does it feel like it's been 20 years?
No, not at all. It's just time goes fast, but that memory is so ingrained in me that if I hear something or see something, yeah, I immediately go back to 9/11. It probably isn't a day in my life that I don't think about somebody that I know that died on 9/11.
An NFL team is the ultimate melting pot. Each journey and each story marked by the scars and resiliency that it took to reach the pinnacle of professional football. For the New York Jets, nobody has been a part of the organization longer than Mike Pryor. He's driven the truck for 39 seasons. With his legacy going far beyond the green and white, the memories of America's darkest day never leave his rearview mirror.
This helmet was given to me by the Jet Equipment staff. Armando made this for me. Has the FDNY on it, has a 343 on it, and a shoulder patch on our uniform. This is my FDNY helmet. I used this most of my career. I went through 3 helmets. This one saw the most fire duty and emergencies that we responded to. The helmet to a fireman means everything. He said, if anybody was to clean this helmet, the owner of the helmet would be very upset. This tells you what you've been through, where you've been. On the fire ground, when the chief sees a guy with a helmet like this, he says, at least I don't have a new guy here. I got a guy that's been around. I grew up in the Bronx. My parents were Irish immigrants, and all the guys, like the Little League coaches and the Pee Wee football coaches, all happened to be firemen. Just decided I'd go into the fire department. 33 years I worked in Corona, Tower Ladder 138. It was just a great job. I mean, protecting New York City, what a great thing, you know.
The Pryor legacy in the FDNY runs deep. After watching their dad protect the city they call home, Mike's 3 sons are following in his footsteps.
It's an amazing feeling. I wish I could tell people what it's like. I mean, the pride I have in being a fireman and to have my kids, it's just an overwhelming sense of pride, you know, to have them when we go to a parade or something like that. We happen to be there together. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows That's Mike Pryor and his kids.
Even now, like, everybody knows my dad in the fire department. He's big with a lot of the organizations, and he's at everything. He's at all the fundraisers. Everybody knows him. Everything he did for the fire department and the city, it's something to look up to and something you want to be involved in.
That morning I got up. It was a beautiful day. I worked at a limousine office in their office as a dispatcher.
I can remember that day like it was yesterday. We were driving around picking up recycling in Corona, remotely close to where my father's firehouse is.
I was going to go to work, and before I left, I called a friend of mine who works in police headquarters, and he wasn't in, but his partner was telling me that I can't talk, I got to run. A plane just hit the World Trade Center. I said, maybe it's a traffic helicopter or something. He says, I don't know, I got to go see. And I turned on the news, and my wife was watching it, and we saw the plane hit. We couldn't believe it. And I said, they're probably going to call us in. This is before the collapse. I told my wife, I said, they'll probably take a week to put this fire out, never thinking that they would ever come down.
We actually pulled over, went into a bar where there was a TV, and, watched the second plane hit and then the tower come down.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
My other brother, Chris, and I, we went to, there's a preserve over here called like Merrick Mountain, and you can see the New York City skyline from there. And we went after school that day, and you just saw smoke across the whole skyline still.
I went to the limo office, and as soon as I got through the door, they said, your wife called, you have to go to work. And that was an unusual ride, because people were, like, I was in a panic. I want to go by my house on my way to my firehouse, so I stopped here, and I said to my wife, by then both buildings came down, I said, it's going to be a recovery now, it's not going to be a rescue. And it was real hard, saying goodbye, I said, look, I probably won't be able to get in touch with you for a couple of days. I'm sure all the phones are going to be out. I'll call you when I can. And I got to my firehouse. They said we're assembling at Shea Stadium's parking lot. So I went to Shea Stadium with my gear. And they were a couple of bus loads of guys were able to get down there, but they didn't want anything. They knew they had a large loss of life. They expected it to be somewhere around 500 people. We lost our hazmat team, and they thought there might be sarin gas or something in the air. So they waited for the Army Corps of Engineers to clear it. And then the next day was the 12th. I went in that night.
In a news conference in which one of the leaders of the fire department union and the fire department official, sorts at least, indicated that there are 300 New York City firemen missing. When
he was saying that he was going down, like he had to go into work, and, we were very upset about it, more upset than, anything else. It was disheartening. Be safe, love you, and, hope for the best.
One of the fears I had was that I was going to find somebody I knew, but then in the back of my head, I knew that would be great if I could find somebody I knew to give their family some closure, because some people don't have that. That night, the night of the 12th, I drove into Manhattan with the truck, and there was no place to park, so I just happened to park in front of City Hall. And when I got off the truck and started walking to the site, it was like I was walking in snow, all the pulverized concrete. That was the sense I got out of it. I felt like that. So we took all the tools we could possibly carry off the truck, and we went to the site. And when I got to the site, they had all those movie and TV lights. They're tremendous. They're mounted on trucks, and it lit up the area, and it looked like we were on a set of a movie. It didn't look real at all. Just the pile, the size of it was amazing to see it, and to see the way it came down.
That's the worst thing, knowing that guys like me and you who have families, they're not going to see them anymore. So that's the hardest thing.
4 guys from my house had gotten killed. One was Oriole Palmer. He was our captain. Oriole was actually given reports. He was a marathon runner. He got to the 70th floor and he was given reports of what was up there. And he ultimately died. And then Andy Desperito was a fireman with me. He got promoted to lieutenant. And he worked at a firehouse by Madison Square Garden, and he got killed. And Bobby Nagel was also a fireman that got promoted to lieutenant, and he got killed. And Kenny Watson, another guy.
After the sports world paused, the Jets traveled to New England on September 23rd to face the Patriots. With a nation looking to heal, the team stood together, united like never before.
On Sunday, we go to the game at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was really just a somber place. People weren't like they normally are. And I got as many T-shirts as I could get from my firehouse. And I gave out about 30 T-shirts to the guys, and they all wore it during warm-ups. And I can remember Wayne Corbett, the one I gave him happened to be red. It was Corona Tigers on it. And that gave me a lot of pride. I didn't know this family, but they're similar to us. They have 3 boys that are firemen, the Andruzzi. And Joe Andruzzi plays for the Patriots. And he came running out with the flag. The crowd really got into it then. They really got pumped, and it was a great feeling. I think most of the guys knew that I was a fireman. I don't know if they all did, but I think they all knew it, and they were patting me on the back. Impressive, you know. I'm not just a truck driver. I'm part of this.
In the land of the free and the home of the brave, the Pryor family is the epitome of everything New York City stands for.
Can you describe what this city means to you?
My parents came from Ireland and settled in New York. It's just been a great story.
We are all in the same profession. Not many people could say they're in the same profession as their father, their brother, and it's just great.
My very last tour that I worked, all 3 of them came to work with me.
We're all firemen working in different companies. But when we work together, we look across and you see your brother there, and I see my other brother there, and I look up front, my father's driving. It was really a great time.
To the general public, you see us driving around in the big truck, making a lot of noise. But the relationships you have with those guys in that truck are amazing.